Good morning, students. So, today we are going to start with a new chapter subject also, that is geography. As you can see on your screen, the chapter is chapter 7, that is the last chapter from the geography textbook, and the name of the chapter is Lifelines of National Economy. Okay, so today India is very well linked with the rest of the world despite its vast size, diversity, and linguistic and social socio-cultural plurality. Railways, airways, waterways, newspapers, then radio, television, cinema, and also internet have been contributing to its socio-economic progress in many ways. So globalization we have learnt about the trade, we are saying that the world is becoming closer, coming closer to each other through all these different things what I have said right now, that is the railways, waterways, airways, the media, that is newspaper, radio, right, internet. So everything seems to be at a click. But today we are going to see how these roadways started and how they are connected to different places. Okay, so today's topic is introduction of roadways. We have read in detail about production of goods and services. How do they reach us? We know that industries are set up in certain areas that are conducive for the production of the manufactured goods. Are these areas located near our houses? Most often not. How do they get to avail of these goods and services then? Through transport, of course. So now what are the various modes of transport that we know of? So we have been studying this right from uh, third and fourth standard. Fifth standard again it was in detail if you were a Volnatian. So but basically you come to know like air, land and water. These are the modes of transport. Now look at page number 7.1 on page number 81. Actually it is 83. It's a mistake. If you have your textbooks with you, please open them to page number 83. Of course, we will be sharing the map, the textbook, sorry, the map there. It shows you the national highways. Okay, some are seen in a yellow color. So, if you see the yellow lines, okay, those are the highways. So, you see Delhi connected to Kolkata. From Kolkata, you can trace it till Chennai. From Chennai, you can trace it to Ahmedabad in Gujarat, and from Ahmedabad again, the it is connected to Delhi. So you can see a quadrilateral there. Yes, it is known as Golden Quadrilateral. So it is mentioned on that in the index also. Okay. Then you need to trace the north-south corridor, which starts from Uri till Kanyakumari. Okay, that is north-south corridor. Okay, which connects north, the north point of India to the south point of India. Okay, next need to trace the red line, which is Porbandar in Gujarat. From there, it runs till Silchar in Assam. So east to west it gets connected. So from the eastmost part of India is connected to the westmost part of India. Okay, and that is the east-west corridor. So you have learned it in fifth standard, if I'm not going wrong, or in sixth standard. Okay. So and the other highways which are only having an outline with no color as such are the highways with numbers. Okay. So we are going to read about that more. Yes. So before science and technology had developed as much, transport was also restricted. So, however, over a period of time, India has become well connected across all terrains. The more our trade grow, the better our country's socio-economic growth. So the development, the infrastructure tells you the development of the country. The connectivity of the country also is related to the economic growth. Okay, this they want to see through this. Now let's see how and why a dense transport network is necessary for domestic and international trade to flourish. So, with the help of all these modes of transport, not only domestic trade is done like within a country, but international trade is also facilitated as well as it is flourishing. Now, let's see a bit detail of roadways. India is known to have one of the largest road networks in the world. Roadways are preferred over railways in India for a number of reasons. Let's study that in a bit. But this is the fact that at present India's roadways cover up to approximately 2.3 million kilometers of the country. So it's a huge network, we can say. So now let us look at the reasons of why roadways occupy much a large area across the nation. This can also be said to be as the advantages or the importance of railways. So if the question comes that what are the advantages of roadways or what are the importance of roadways, so here's your answer. Okay, road construction costs are cheaper to laying down railway tracks. Roads can be built across varying terrains and connect dissected topography. Roads can reach high altitudes far easily. Economically, transportation of smaller goods or groups by road. Then the next is accessible door-to-door delivery results in a reduction of loading and unloading cost. So if it is at the doorstep, if the roads are connected and you get the transportation near your uh, area or near your shop or resident, then loading and unloading it many times, the cost is reduced. So act as a feeder, that is connection between other modes of transport. Think of how you would reach the airport to get to a place where you are taking a flight. So if you need to go to some place like an airport, from your place you need to take some mode of transport, right? The roadways to reach the airport, and from that you can take the airways, correct? So this is way it is connected. Now India classifies its road connection or network into six types. What are they? The first, as we have seen, it's a golden quadrilateral superhighway. Now I have already told you which cities and how it gets connected. The shape is like a quadrilateral, that is why it is known as the quadrilateral. So golden quadrilateral because it connects the metropolitan cities. Implementation by the National Highway Authority of India, that is NHAI, now connects the mega cities in a way that reduces time and distance between them. So look at the highway map, national highway map at on page number 83. We have already done that. Okay, and what cities or what states it joins, we have seen that also. Okay, now let us go to the next one. National highways, now maintained by the Central Public Works Department, that is CPWD, of course, because it is national, so that comes under the central government, it is understood. Now primary road systems that connect extreme areas of the country. Okay, so a number of major national highways run in north, south or east, west directions. Please look carefully at the map on page number 83. You'll find that many of the national highways are running either north, south or east, west. Okay, they link the cities, state capitals with different district quarters. So it is easy from you to go from Maharashtra to some other district. Okay, from Maharashtra to Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad is in different uh, state, but it's a district. So that can be linked with state highways, which has been seen, constructed, and maintained by the state public work department, that is PWD. One more thing regarding the national highway, I would tell you that Shahpuri Marg, which is the national highway number 1, okay, which runs between Delhi and Amritsar. Now we have seen the state roads in that. Now next is district roads. Those are being maintained by the Zilla Parishad, and it connects district headquarters with places within the district. So Pune, it can connects Pune to Injawadi, the central part of Pune to, and some other districts or villages nearby. Next, other roads, special provision by the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana is an attempt to connect rural areas with urban regions. Okay, so जो भूगांव वगैरह जो भी है, suburbs जिसको हम बोलते हैं, the rural areas or suburbs, they are connected to the urban areas through the roads which are being provided under the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. And Atal Bihari Vajpayee was supported the most for this yojana, for this scheme, and in his train terrain or regime, we can say, this development of roads was seen the most. Okay, objective is to connect each village to a major town with an all season road. Now what is all season road? Yes students, what is an all season road? Which would not destroy after heavy rains. Yes, correct. So tar road or cement road, which does not get destroyed with the heavy rains or different harsh weather conditions, we can say. Okay, the road which can survive in rain. Yes, so pakka road, what we have learnt in the lower standards. Okay, and the last is the border roads. They are constructed and maintained by the Border Roads Organization. Okay, this doesn't come under central, like central government do not take the decisions regarding this. A special organization, that is Border Roads Organization, construct and maintain the border roads. Improvement in accessibility to regions of difficult terrain, and thus connecting the bordering areas to the rest of the country. तो नेपाल बॉर्डर में जो ट्रेड होता है, चाइना बॉर्डर में जो ट्रेड होता है, and of course it is the duty of the government that we secure the border roads, because of what situation we are dealing right now, China border, there are many different things going on there. So we have to secure, it is also our responsibility to secure the border road. Yes, so roadways also can be classified on the basis of construction material used. One can be the metal roads, that is the cement roads or concrete roads or bituminous coal, which remain in use in all the seasons. They are not destroyed at any harsh weather conditions. And the other is unmetalled roads, which are made up of sand or mud, which also can be said as kacha rasta, way out of use during the rainy season. When there are heavy rains, heavy pouring is there, then these roads get destroyed, and thus they are not in a good condition to travel for. So this is the end of today's PPT.
If you like our videos, do share them and subscribe to our channel. If you want awesome quizzes, write to us. Keep watching and keep learning with Walnut.